What's going on, Algebra Bros? This is Mr. C here, and in this video I'm going to show how you can find the difference quotient of this function, f of x equals 1 over x plus 5, so a function involving a rational expression. Alright, let's begin. So the first thing I'm going to do is write out the function with x plus h plugged into the x that's in the denominator, and I'm going to put that in brackets. So we're going to have 1 over, and the x right here, as I just mentioned, is going to get replaced with x plus h. All right, we can close off the brackets, and then from that we're going to subtract the expression for the original version of the function, 1 over x plus 5. And all of that is supposed to be on top of h. Now here's something that helped me out tremendously when finding the difference quotient of a function that involves a rational expression, just to help out with the mechanics and anything else that we might see happening in terms of simplification later on in the problem. What that is dealing with the h that's in the denominator. Think about it this way. To say that we're dividing the numerator by h is really the same thing as saying that we're multiplying the numerator by 1 over h. So here's what I mean. Let's take this h out in front, write it as a 1 over h, and then we'll write out the numerator, which is 1 over x plus h plus 5. You can remove the parentheses here, no distribution required, minus 1 over x plus 5. It's just good. I always found it easier to just do it this way. That way there aren't too many fractions going on, and it helps you avoid having to do this using a complex fraction. But what we're going to need to do from here on out is combine the two rational expressions here via subtraction, and the way you're going to do that is employing a common denominator or an LCM of the two denominators. And in this case, the LCM of the two denominators is simply going to be their product. So this x plus h plus 5 getting multiplied to x plus 5. So in this next line, let's write 1 over h. And what I'm going to do is multiply the 1 of the first fraction's numerator by x plus 5. So that'll give us x plus 5. And that's going to be on top of the LCM, s plus h plus 5 times x plus 5. Minus, and we're going to multiply the numerator of the second fraction by x plus h plus 5, which x plus h plus 5 times 1 is still x plus h plus 5. And that, too, is going to be on top of a copy of the LCM. So now that we have a common denominator and each of the two fractions written using the common denominator, let's go ahead and combine them. So still keep this 1 over h out in front, and we're going to have x plus 5 minus, and because the numerator has 3 terms in the second fraction, let's use parentheses to distribute the negative in a second. So x plus 5 minus this quantity all over just one copy of the LCM. All right, and as mentioned a second ago, we will have to distribute this minus sign. So we're going to be looking at 1 over h, bracket, x plus 5, minus x minus h minus 5, all over the LCM. And of course, there's some simplifying in that numerator. Namely, the x's are going to cancel, and the 5 and negative 5 will cancel. And what's left over is negative h all over, you guessed it, the LCM. Now, keep in mind we do have this 1 over h out in front of the fraction, and the h is in the denominator, and we have a negative h in the numerator of the second fraction. So there's some cross-canceling that's going to happen. Namely, the h is going to divide out this h, and we'd still be left with -1 in the numerator. And that -1 is going to be on top of, you guessed it, the LCM. And there's nothing more that we can do in terms of simplification. If you wanted to, you could multiply these two out. But for all intents and purposes, it's fine just as is. And there we have it. The difference quotient of the function f of x equals 1 over x plus 5. All right, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, thanks for working your way through this video, and I'll see you guys next time.